I married my husband last weekend after about a year of planning. The ceremony went off perfectly, even with kids in the church. The formal photos weren't delayed, no one got intoxicated and wrecked anything. No one insisted on bringing their emotional support goat. The only hitch was that my in-laws invited about 10 extra people without telling us, not relatives or anything, just friends of theirs. We didn't invite since we didn't know them. I didn't notice them at the ceremony, and it wasn't until the reception that there were issues. There was no seating for them. Our best man and groomsman found a folding table and chairs for them to sit at. There was food. We went with a buffet. But since we sent people to eat by table number, and they didn't have a number, they were sent last after everything had been picked over. My in-laws were embarrassed that their friends were being treated that way. I very politely asked them what they expected when they invited people without. Telling the people planning and paying for the wedding, they said we needed to apologize for their treatment. I said I would, but I would also explain that they hadn't actually been invited if they wanted their guests told anything else. Then they had to go explain. They are upset with me. My husband has my back, 100%. I think I could have been more gracious, but I also think it shouldn't have fallen on us to deal with it. Am I the idiot for telling my in-laws? It was on them to explain to their guests why there weren't any places for them at my wedding reception. Who the heck invites 10 extra people to a wedding on their own initiative and then wants you to apologize for a lack of a place to sit? Hello? Oh well, you were indeed extremely gracious and polite, not telling them they must be completely mad. Wow, the entitlement of your in-laws is amazing. You are not the idiot. And what the heck, not only did we invite 10 strangers, but you need to drop everything during your wedding reception. It's not like you're stressed or doing anything else. And apologize to these freeloaders that they had to go to the buffet line last. This is all on your in-laws. And now you need to be watching for future similar behavior and nip it in the bud, hoping not to see. Am I the idiot for disbanding in-laws? Surprise baby, welcoming party at our home that I was expected to host when we arrive with the newborn from the hospital. Start setting firm boundaries now. Or you will be dealing with this type of nonsense all the time. An extra 4 people showing up at the hospital and then expecting to go into the delivery room, with you an additional 15 people at the baby's baptism, and not enough cake to go around, showing up at birthday parties with friends in tow and expecting you to be gracious about it while dealing with all the relatives you did invite, and the 8 screaming sugar-high children. Stop this entitled nonsense. Now your in-laws are of course entirely out of line and are the idiots here. But the people they invited are also idiots for even showing up. They didn't receive an actual invite. Is this their first day on earth? Do they not know how weddings work? They didn't think it was odd that their invitation was a verbal one from the groom's parents and not a physical paper, one sent in the mail by the couple. Did they even bring gifts? Of course not. I could see the in-laws being like, hey, there bass wanna come. The uninvited guest probably just took them at their word. I'm very glad that you and your husband are in sync about this. If your in-laws push it any further with you, I suggest you have him talk to them, as he can be much more direct and blunt about the complete idiocy they're displaying. My 40 female daughter, 21 Kate, is pregnant by her boyfriend Matt. 22 Kate lives with me, and Matt lives with his dad and stepmom. They want to get an apartment together, but neither Kate nor Matt are good with money. So they have 0 savings, Kate is not working. She quit about 4 weeks ago when she found out she was pregnant. Matt works full-time and both of them dropped out of school. I've offered that if they find a place in a reasonable price range, I will take care of the deposit, help get utilities turned on, pay half the rent each month, and continue paying Kate's car insurance and phone bill. I also told them that once the baby is born, I'm more than happy to help if the baby needs formula diapers, wipes, clothes, etc. Kate and Matt are very happy about that until they heard my caveat. My caveat is, I directly buy what they ask for. They can send me the links to what they want for the baby, but I will not give them any actual cash. The same applies to helping them with the deposit and rent. I write a check directly to the apartment complex. I've seen how Kate and Matt handle money, like there's just more randomly lying around. They go out and spend all weekend, as Matt gets paid on Friday, then by Tuesday. Kate is usually asking me for gas money on behalf of Matt because he's broke. She doesn't work and his parents aren't financially stable enough to help. Out Katie immediately objected to my conditions and said I was being unfair to her and Matt treating them like children and I should want to help out in any way. They need or want me to. I told Kate from past observations that my choosing not to give them money is not something I'm willing to discuss or negotiate on right now, if that's something they need either. Kate goes back to work since she's having an extremely easy pregnancy, or they ask Matt's parents for money in hand and try their luck doing that. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. 2 adults who are not financially responsible got pregnant and expect you to support them financially in full. They're very lucky. You want to do anything for them. Your deal is more than reasonable. But honestly, I think you're giving them too much. You're telling your daughter not to worry about work. You'll cover her expenses is in her household, and she'll probably just keep getting pregnant. There'll be no thinking about if they can afford babies number 2, 3, and 4, and 5, because OP will pay for it. Kate isn't being taught financial responsibility, just the opposite. She's being taught that mommy will bail her out when Ope said there was a caveat. I thought it would be the daughter getting a job with health insurance. I cannot fathom the thought process that leads to quitting a job when I have a baby on the way. They both sound way too immature for this. What do you think will happen when they decide not to pay half of the rent or the electric bills? They'll ask you to pay for everything for the baby. Obviously, you've been enabling them until now and have created this problem to some extent. Tough love is the only way to get them to see the light personally in your shoes. I would only pay for baby items, and if they fall homeless, you'll take in their baby and they can go to a homeless shelter. I don't think they'll learn until actual consequences bite them in the butt. 100% this op, you are the idiot. You've enabled her, she thought. Quitting her job was the right move. What gave her that idea? She can't even manage to pay a phone bill. Are you willing to see them evicted? Because the only part of the rent that will be paid is the half you pay. No, I don't think so. In reality, you're on the hook for all the rent. You're actually setting them up for disaster. They're both grown adults. Stop enabling bad behavior, laziness, and careless behavior. Raise your children and enjoy your grandchildren. Enjoy your children and raise your grandchildren. I'm 29 and my husband is 34 and we have no kids yet. We've been married for 2 years now. His best friend's family of 4 invites themselves over to our house for a night out every other weekend without a formal invite. But my husband cannot say no every time they ask. They're persistent in asking if they can come over, even if we say no for a weekend. And when they come over, it's at least $100 in expenses. Just for groceries, since we'll be cooking the dishes and snacks the kids love. I tried talking to my husband about not having them over so often, and his only reply is he can't say no to them every time. If we do say no for this weekend, they'll follow up for the next in this entire thing. I don't even feel like I'm hanging out and have no good time. I just feel stressed and tired from hosting them through Saturday and Sunday. I was successful for about 3 months in avoiding them by planning all weekends out with other friends or just us traveling. And one weekend I refused to allow them to stay over and cook meals for them. My husband was acting up. He was so hurt. But I need to rest up from my work, week, and de-stress during this phase. I wasn't allowing them to stay. My husband visited them once, and they told him that their younger daughter, a toddler, Miss is coming home. She always wears a backpack and says, "Let's go to Uncle's house." My husband comes to me with tears telling me about this emotionally. And now they're trying even harder to come and stay over every other weekend. I really need to get out of this situation and start up feeling obligated to have them over. It's stressing our relationship financially, mentally, and physically. I'm looking for suggestions to help me handle this situation better. Am I the idiot for not wanting my husband's best friend's family over every other weekend to stay over? Not the idiot. Good Lord, every weekend they're tacking up the bills and eating your food. What's wrong with their place? Are they really poor with no electricity or something? This is crazy, honey. You have a husband problem. This is bizarre behavior. He's in an emotional relationship with these people. Ask him which one he's sleeping or in love with, because it sure isn't you. He's treating you like a servant. It's just getting so much out of hand. I'll bet you this, your husband isn't inconvenienced by any of the prep that goes into hosting. You do all the cooking, cleaning, and planning. Well, stop that. When they come next, you lock up all your valuable and precious things, take the key, and apologize to the unwanted guest. You made plans that you couldn't cancel, but your husband will look after them, etc., and leave. Spend a relaxing day at the beach, library, movies, spa, or all of those things. Go meet friends. Spend as much money as he is on his idiot friends. Your savings will take a hit, but give it a go anyway. You can point out that spending money on his friend every weekend means you don't get to spend your money on things. You like how fair is that also? Why not ask point blank when they will return? The favor. Honestly, I would have already asked them flat out why they felt entitled to your hospitality without an invitation, but never ever return the favor. Point out the unfairness and ask why they're okay. Taking advantage of their supposed best friend, you can also be direct and tell them you can't afford to host them so frequently. So they need to come with groceries or Venmo their share. I can't imagine my home being invaded every 2 weeks and my spouse being so dense. So this week weaned is my daughter's teen homecoming dance at her school. She couldn't go to her freshman or sophomore year, and she just wanted to. Go really badly. So I, 38 female, bought her a ticket this year. She has a dress, all of that. But I just checked her grades today, and she's failing one of her classes with about 10 missing assignments. Now I've given her so many chances to fix her grade in this one class. I've tried everything. I got her multiple tutors, and she didn't like any of them. I tried taking her phone. I even tried telling her Her cat we recently took in from the street would be rehomed if she didn't pull it together, but still no change. So I told her she wasn't going to homecoming and she just lost it. She ran up to her room crying and slammed her door later when she returned. She refused to talk to me and eat her dinner. She was extremely rude to her father and siblings, and when I called her out on it and asked her what her problem was, she started yelling at me about how all I do is take away her chance to have fun and a normal social life. I thought she was overacting quite a bit. But now I'm having second thoughts. Am I the idiot for not letting my daughter go to homecoming? You are the idiot. I even tried telling her cat that we recently took in from the street was going to be rehomed if she didn't pull it together. Is that even remotely motivating if you're horrible to your kid? No, they will not do particularly well in school. Personally, I wouldn't threaten and punish a kid for failing a class. I'd focus on the why this class? Why don't the charters work? What's the issue? Is this class super important, or is it one she can drop at some point? Take away an important social event, like homecoming, and you're also taking away some of that motivation to attend school. Let's be honest, most of us only enjoyed school because of our friends. Same, I remember when I was in school, I had a friend who once got a B+ in one subject and an A+ in all others, and her parents grounded her. It was really sad. Hey, if I got all B's and even a C here and there, my parents would buy me ice cream. My father actually told me once, you have to study and learn the basics, but have fun because you won't use all of this and it will get worse later. LOL. My parents were disappointed in me when I brought home the equivalent of an A because a classmate who was a genius in math scored 2 points higher. My kids, they kept being disappointed in me. And even when I had the top score, their reply was, yeah, only because that guy was sick, got to love these parents. No contact for years has been the best. Wow-op. Your parenting is messed up, and all kinds of emotional trauma is waiting to happen. Right there, instead of getting to the root of the problem, you've thrown punishments at her. It's not an effective strategy. You are taking away a big moment for her. You can't expect sunshine and fun times from her when your daughter eventually stops talking to you. Look back at the emotional abuse you're inflicting on her. Don't be surprised that she show no contact. When she turns 18, my nephew teen recently came to visit me in college. I learned that he's been wanting to get a buzz cut for a couple of months now, but his mom, my sister, has absolutely forbidden it, since she feels it would make him look like a thug. I think it's a bit ridiculous. He's a teen, a junior in high school, and at the age kids can drive. So I think he's very much old enough to make his own decisions regarding something impermanent like hair. I said as much to him, and he asked if he could use the electronic razor. I had to get a buzz cut. Obviously, this was a case of him going above his mom's head. But as I said, I think she was ridiculous, so I told him to go ahead. He did so, and the result looked pretty good. My sister called me when he got back home, freaking out, saying I had no right to supersede her authority and make that decision for her. I told her that she was right. It's not my decision, but it's not hers either. He's almost an adult and can make choices about his hair. It's not as if I gave him the go-ahead to get a tattoo nose ring or even dye his hair. An absurd color beyond the simple fact that he should have the autonomy to make the choice. His choice isn't bizarre or irreversible and won't cause any problems. It's just a buzz cut, she got angry and said. I had no right to let her kid do what she forbade, but I pointed out that she was controlling. She hung up and posted on our family group chat. What an idiot. I was her husband, and the rest of the family mostly agree with me that it's just a buzz seeker and not that deep. But her intensity makes me wonder, am I in the wrong? Am I the idiot? It's hair, for God's sake. It'll grow back. He's a mid-teen, almost a legal adult, and his mother is still dictating how he can get his hair cut. Absolutely in no way, shape, or form. Are you the idiot? Your sister is being ridiculous in 2 years. Your nephew will have the autonomy to make much more life-changing decisions than how to cut his hair. For example, he could join the military where God. But you have to have a buzz cut, not the idiot. Your sister needs to get a grip. This woman has many disappointments headed her way in the next few years as her kid hits 18 and blindly does as he pleases, including cutting her controlling butt right out of his life and probably rebelling aggressively against everything she's ever told him not to do controlling. Your kid just postpones all the stuff they want to do until they turn 18 and doesn't stop them from doing it ever. I agree, but hope he didn't need to get in the middle of this. The nephew cut his hair using ops supplies, so I don't see why he couldn't do this at home or a friend's house if OP didn't want to cause drama. They could always have said, I fully support your right to make your own decisions about your hair. And to be fair, you don't need your mom's permission to cut your hair. You can just do it, but can I ask you to wait until you're home? You know it will cause issues between me and your mom if it happens here, and you can just as easily do it at home. The fact that it didn't happen this way makes me think OP was trying to stir up trouble.